Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host Stan Rattan and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And speaking of that, we're going to do Bordeaux today. Bordeaux. Now, we all know that there's big Bordeaux's out there that demand huge amounts of money. Petrus, Cheval Blanc, Haut-Brion, the list goes on and on. Margaux, I mean, there's just a ton of them. And I mean, these first growths, they go for a ton of, well, I mean, Cheval Blanc and, we know, Petrus are not first growths because they're on the right bank, blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe, I should take that back. Anyway, let's not get into the big tangent on that. But I mean, those are big producers that demand big bucks, and a lot of you, a lot of us just don't have that kind of money. I've had opportunities to taste those things, thankfully. I have friends that are able to buy those types of wine and have shared them with me. That being said, most of the time we're looking for, good Bordeaux's at reasonable prices. And Bordeaux's are really just blends, mostly Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, little Petit Verdot sometimes. Sometimes they throw in a little, but it's mostly Cab Merlot, Cab Franc. And if you're on the left-hand side of the Gironde River, west of the Gironde River, you're on the left bank. If you're on the east side of the Gironde River, you're on the right bank. And the right bank Bordeaux's generally use a little more Merlot, generally. And the left bank Bordeaux's are generally more Cab. That's the idea. They don't always stick to that formula, but it's pretty close. You can depend on it most of the time. Well, I have two Bordeaux's that come in at $15. And this first one we're going to try, well, let's switch it. Sorry, I had them in the wrong order. Chateau Beaune, Cotes de Bourg. Now there's a debate. Should we say it like the French or should we say it like an American? Now my friend Alan would debate that you say it like the French, which is Cote de Bourg. That's how they say it. We would say Cote de Bourg. It's okay with me if you say it that way. No sweat off my back. This is on the right bank of Bordeaux, kind of down above Entre-Deux-Mers, which is a general area down a little bit south and east. This is just above that. And you can find a lot of good values from this place. This rolls in at $15. And thankfully they put the blend on the back of this one. It is 45% Merlot, 45% Cabernet, and 10% Malbec. So that's originally after botrytis, not botrytis, never mind. In the 19th century, they got hit with phylloxera, a little bug, a little dangerous bug that gets into the roots and kills the plants. They had to rip up all their vines, replant. They used American stock. And they did not replant Malbec, but now they're starting to put Malbec back in. And, whether they admit it or not, it could be the success of Malbec in Argentina. But this one has 10% Malbec. So let's see what we get on the nose. Interesting kind of a cigar box. Little leather. Currants, leather, cigar box, a lot of earth, a lot of forest floor elements coming through. I get a fair amount of red flowers and tobacco. Let's see what we get on the palate. Whoops. Got to practice my spitting technique. Not always perfect. I don't have that perfect little spit routine going on. Got to perfect it. Okay, so this is from the 2009 vintage, a good vintage in Bordeaux. This one is very acidic, very tight. This is a tight Bordeaux. The leather comes through. I get a really bright cherry notes coming through, a little red currant action. A lot of leather, a lot of like forest floor, dirt coming through. A little bit of iron action, a little bit of minerality coming through. I get some crushed rock, some iron. Very interesting Bordeaux. It's very youthful. $14, this one could use some time in the bottle, which is amazing. There's a lot of you that might not like this wine. I think it's well built. I think it's a good food wine. I think it would go well with roast beef, with stews, with spaghetti. It's got that good acidity. It's got that red flower note, those mineral notes coming through. There's a lot of good things in this wine. I think it's a little youthful. I think it's closing up a little bit from last time. I remember tasting this one maybe about a year ago, and it seemed to be a little bit more open knit. And that's the thing with some of these wines. They will close up. We call it they get stupid. They just kind of close down, but then they open up later. A little bit of that, kind of that funkiness that comes with Bordeaux, old world style wines. It kind of tastes like it's corked. It's not a corked wine, but it has a little bit of that, just a hair of that kind of flavor to it. $15, and you can lay it down. It's crazy. I'm gonna go B- on that wine. I think it's pretty good. I think there's a lot of good things about it. I don't think it's gonna be the most popular wine for a lot of you that are looking for more fruit-forward wines, but it is a very nice Bordeaux style. I mean, it's Bordeaux for sure. Right bank. Now, I mentioned this earlier, we're going to go down to Entre-Deux-Mers. Now, this is an area in France that, doesn't always get the respect it should get. This one is a 2011, again, at $15. No, 14. They're both, excuse me, they're both $14. I don't know what's wrong with me. $14. Chateau Rostand Reserve VA Vines, which means old vines. They just use the Bordeaux appellation. They just stand away from the Entre-Deux-Mers because they don't want that stigma, maybe. There shouldn't be. But some great values on Entre-Deux-Mers. This is one of them. In the past, they produced some excellent wines, especially in excellent vintages. This comes from a little tougher vintage, 2011, but you never know. Old vines, they have 37 acres planted to 25-year-old vines or older now. 99-acre estate, and the Entre-Deux-Mers, and they've really, in 05, they really hit a home run with their Bordeaux. Great vintage, and you're always looking for wines that are, not in a class or not first growth, second growth, third growth, fourth growth, whatever. Growth. You're looking for those wines that come from those vintages because they reflect the quality of those vintages. But some of these, old vines, you might get some good stuff from a tougher vintage like 2011. Let's see what we get on the nose. A lot of tobacco, a little bit of like baked earth. Get a little bit of mocha chocolate coming through, which is interesting. Definitely currants. Now this doesn't say what is in it, but they, of course, Merlot, Cab Franc, those are the three main grapes of this area. So no doubt that's a big part of what's in this wine. Yeah, I get a little like a cardamom in spice coming through, which is very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. A little bit of black olive. Definitely leather, like a really soft, not pungent leather, but just a really soft, old leather. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting spices coming through on the nose. I can't. Very, very, very aromatics. You could sit there and smell this one probably for a long time and come out with different things on it. But very interesting nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. Better job that time. Much more approachable than the Beaune. I get like a, there's definitely some darker fruits coming through. Good acidity on the backside. The leather, and there is some minerality on this one, but it's more in the spice box category. Good tannins, really grips on the back end. Nice and firm tannins on this one. The acidity isn't as high as the bone. It's got some serious stuff going on in this wine. A little thin on the mid palate, but that being said, that could be because of that tannic grip on the back end. Maybe it just kind of takes away from the mid palate. Let's get another shot. Yeah, red flowers, minerality, a nice brightness, a little bit of cranberry action going on. Red cherries, red currants with a little dark fruit action up front, evolving into those red fruits. Very interesting, good acid. I like this wine. I like them both, actually. This has a little bit of that leather. Again, red flowers all day. I really like that finish on the red flowers, kind of iron. Kind of like you rubbed red flowers into iron. A lot of crushed rock. Good wine. That one also could use a little bit of aging. It will flesh out a little bit more. There's good balance in both of these wines. This one just seems to be a little bit more approachable now than that one, which is interesting. That's 2 years older. This is not in a stupid stage right now. This is drinking good. Will improve over the next 5 years. 2011 vintage, tough vintage. They did a nice job. I'm going to go B+, A- on that one because of the price, because of the quality, what you're getting. Both of them are excellent in different ways. You know, if you're a big fan of blends and you want to expand your palate horizons, go to Bordeaux. Go to your wine shop, talk to your wine guy, find those really classic Bordeaux from good vintages or that have a good reputation for producing great wines, and you know, try them. Get your palate used to a little bit of old world action. I think that you will eventually find that you prefer, from time to time, especially with food, because that's what they do. They drink their wine with food. These are not cocktail wines. These are not made to just have solo. I could drink this one that was staying solo, but more likely with a good bowl of spaghetti, some rib steak, some ribs, something like that. It would be perfect. It would even go with a roasted chicken. That being said, thanks for watching. I hope you continue to expand your palate horizons. I hope you're enjoying these shows. Make a comment if you feel up to it. Subscribe to this channel. I need to get this thing rolling. I think this is episode 116. I am working very hard to get my viewership up. So, cheers. And here's to keeping the snob out of wine.